Good morning there. You're watching QTV this morning, and I am your host, Jenna Sonko, and joined by my amazing co-host, Ibrahim Balde. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, I'm just busy going through an elephant, thinking about an elephant's weight, We have another great African proverb again.
Okay.
It's talking about one of the most powerful animals in the world. Elephant.
Certainly one of the biggest.
But is it powerful? Because sometimes there are instances where it's quite vulnerable.
Yeah, but it is powerful. It is very powerful.
Yes.
You can see an elephant uprooting a whole tree. Power does that.
Sure.
So we are back again on another edition of this morning. I wanted to say Smiling Coast. I miss my Smiling Coast, baby.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are back, Jay.
Yeah, so we are back on the program, and today is the last this morning of the week. It has been great since we started. As usual, we have the African proverb. We have the newspaper review. Our guest is already here, Ade Drami, to help us analyze some of the stories that we have on the papers. And today on social issues, we're having a continuation of a discussion that we already started in relation to the bill to the National Assembly, which was passed by an honorable in relation to preserving certain seats.
It wasn't passed. Quite the opposite. It was proposed.
Yeah, it was proposed. Sorry to say. It didn't even pass its second reading.
Quite.
Yes, thank you. So that particular bill is meant to reserve seats for women as well as persons with disability. But unfortunately, it did not even pass its second reading. We did have a conversation the last time with Lamin Fall and Lala Toure in relation to the quota system. But now this discussion is focusing on the fact that the bill did not even pass its second reading. And we'll have a discussion here. And on Click segment today, we have a special guest. Skengman Sweezy will be joined by Jizzle as the Scorpion Fest is around the corner. It's on Saturday. Are you going to the Scorpion Fest?
I'm not going there. I am going to my event.
I was going to say, I think he has somewhere else to be.
The Jem Machosan.
I have my own fest, so I'm going there. I'm going to the Jem Machosan. It's 26th of February this Saturday.
Yeah, anyway, Kunek has a program as an audience. So what is our African proverb?
All right, there is no elephant that complains about the weight of its trunk. No elephant is burdened by the weight of its tusks.
An interesting one.
Am I supposed to start?
You can.
Very
Yeah. So what this proverb tells me has to do with, parental care. This shows me parental care. That is when parents bear children, they have to actually carry the responsibility of raising the child well, educating the child. Yes?
You've lost me there.
Why?
They're talking about an elephant, its trunk, and its tusk. The bits of ivory that stick out.
So that's what it's giving me. You never get tired of that burden.
Yeah.
That's what it's giving me. It actually,
Interesting.
yes, that's the feeling it's giving me right now. As in, there are just certain things that you have, and they're a part of you. You cannot get tired of. And that is parent. As a mom.
Oh, please, don't go there.
I'll go there.
There are lots of parents who can't stand their children. Don't pretend.
That is why I'm saying you should not. You should.
No.
You should carry the burden.
No.
Wait, Mr. Ade, let's take this step by step.
Carry on.
Let's take this step by step.
Well,
this is talking about Mema Madana, because Mr. Ade, the thing is, Mr. Ade, this is talking about things that you have in you.
In you. Yes.
For example, in you, and you have to deal with them because you can't get rid of it.
You can get rid of your children.
But we are looking at the moral aspect of it. You can get rid of your children, but morally, you have to deal with these people. No. You have to educate them. You have to raise them.
No, you don't.
You have to.
No, you don't.
Because you brought them into the world. They did not ask to come.
There are lots of people who they abandon their children become orphans, they end up in orphanages, which tells you that parents do not feel, not every parent feels that.
That is why I'm saying you have to feel it. You have to carry that burden because the child did not ask to come to this world.
It doesn't matter.
It matters.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
It matters. About the parental responsibility, what the parents should do.
Yes.
And Mr. Ade is here talking about a different angle. I
Yeah.
mean, that is some parents
Because
don't care.
parents do not take care of their kids and they send them to orphanages, does not mean that this is a responsibility that they have to take. They have to take it.
No, they
It's a
don't.
burden.
No, they don't.
Why not?
Who says they do?
So parents have to bring children into this world and not take the burden of.
There are lots of people who, just because they can have children, doesn't make them parents.
Agreed.
Anybody who
Agreed.
can have
Agreed.
sexual relations
Right.
and is productive can have a
I
child.
know.
Right,
But
but
they-
again, the thing is, it is a responsibility, Mr. Ade, because the child did not ask to come. You brought the child.
That's taking a moral standpoint on it. And lots of people don't have morals. And lots of people who abandon their children have no morals. And you can't force
But
them
there's
to have
need
morals.
to have that moral.
No, they don't need.
They need because they had
invited-
while you had sex, for instance,
Yeah,
freely.
yeah.
The
Well,
child did
maybe
not ask for
maybe not
reproduction
even
to happen.
freely. Maybe not even freely.
Yeah.
Lots of people. There are lots of young people
You
who, for
take
example,
responsibility for
lots
your
of-
mistakes if it's out of wedlock, for example.
No. That's you taking a moral standpoint, saying somebody has to take responsibility for their mistakes. Somebody might have had a one-night stand. They get pregnant, they have a child, and they're not even fit. They're not ready
No
to have.
problem.
Why are you forcing them to have to take that responsibility
Okay,
when they can't
then
do
don't
it?
have the child.
No.
Then
If
don't
you are
have
not
it.
ready
No.
to- if you
Then
are not-
don't
okay,
have the
if-
child.
listen,
That's a separate
Come on,
argument.
if you are not ready to father a child or mother a baby,
Yes.
I mean, you should not first of all go.
Exactly, and that's
This
why
is
I
a-
take
but-
issue.
So don't do
Mr.
it.
That's, no.
Be careful.
There
And
is
that's why-
there is a difference between fathering a child and becoming
And
a
being-
child.
That's why
and
I'm saying
becoming a father.
I agree with
Or
that, but
being
that's
a
why
father.
I'm saying then don't have it. I am okay with a one night stand.
But why are they
and all of
having
that?
then?
It happened.
Why
But that's
is
right,
it
because
happening?
because
If you
people
don't
are
know-
reckless. Because people are reckless. Well, you can't say,
But
for
what
example,
I believe,
if somebody is a bad parent, are you seriously saying that person should look after their child? That's rubbish. I'm sorry.
Rubbish.
Seriously, you cannot say that just because somebody fathers or mothers a child, that person has to. I know lots of people who are bad parents.
We are
Why
on,
should
Mr.
they-
Ade, we're on
why
the same
should they?
page.
No,
We are on the same.
but you're saying they should look after
They
their child.
should. It's a responsibility.
No.
It's,
If you're a
it's
bad
supposed
parent
to
and
happen.
if you're a bad parent-
platform.
No, Mr. Ade, you
But
have
I-
to look after your kids.
No.
How
Listen,
many kids are,
listen. The way I see it, for me, it's, for example, you say something you're born with. You're not born with your children, or you don't have children inside you.
But
You
it's
give
a-
birth to them.
you did,
You give
and
birth
it's a
to them.
connection.
That's why I take
It's
issue with
egg
your
and a thing
interpretation.
together.
That's why I
Which
take issue with your interpretation. The way I see it, essentially, I kind of half agree, but and the
Exactly.
half is this. If you are born with something, it's like you complaining, my arms are too long, my head is too big.
Yeah.
You are born with whatever is proportionate for your body and so on.
That is
so you
also
can't
a
complain about it, because
good
you complain, what's
interpretation.
the point? What's the
Exactly.
point?
Yeah.
But for you to say, oh, because you have children, you have to look after them. Are you kidding?
But Mr. Ade, so it's not a responsibility for parents to look after their kids.
No, it should be, but it's not
That's
a
why
must.
it's a
but-
must.
No, but
You
that's,
have
if
to.
you say they must, it's a moral responsibility, because what I'm saying is, if a person, you said they have to look after their kid, or they should be with their children. If somebody is a parent and they're looking after it, and they're beating that child every day, what the hell
That's not
kind
what
of
I'm
parent
talking
is that?
about. Then
No,
the
you're saying
moral
that
is not
This is
there.
No,
topic.
but you're saying that
this
every
is-
parent has to be a good parent. Not every parent is a good parent.
That's what I'm trying to put
This is-
across.
no.
It's
this is
not
a
every
broad
parent
topic.
that is a
But-
good parent,
yeah,
but
quite.
every parent is supposed to walk towards being a good parent. That's what I'm saying.
That's like saying every person should be a good person. What a fantastic world it would be. But not everybody is good.
I agree.
Just like not all
I
parents
agree.
are good. So why are
Right.
you saying parents have to take responsibility?
They have to, Mr.
No,
Ade.
no,
They
they don't.
have to.
No, they don't.
That child did not
they-
do anything
they,
to come
they,
into
they,
this
they
world.
do it
It's a-
because they feel that they should, not that they must.
It's not about a feeling. It's
Of
about
course.
a must.
Yeah,
No.
but I mean, for
It's
us,
a must.
Mr.
So
Ade,
why
at some
children
point,
abandon?
for us, what we know.
Because the moral is not there. That is why those people
That's
decided
what I'm
to
saying.
abandon
You're
them.
taking a moral standpoint. You
Exactly.
cannot force other people to live by your morals.
These are not my morals. These are
that's
things
what-
that are
I
supposed
think
it's
we've dealt-
established.
No,
It's supposed to
established
happen.
by who?
What we
It's
do now,
supposed to
we
happen.
are taking a
You
short
bring
break.
kids and you look after them.
No,
Can
you
they
don't.
take us to the break?
No,
And
you
we'll
don't.
be
I've
back.
seen
I need to
individuals,
tell
Mr. Ade, who say, I don't want to have children.
Yeah.
Some people say that. You know why they say that?
Yeah.
They're afraid of parenting and they
Yeah.
feel like they can't bear kids and they can't look after them. choose to do that.
But unfortunately, there are thousands, millions more who don't
Anyway,
take that and then do have children.
Okay, we'll go for a short break then, and we'll be right back on the newspaper
This
review.
is becoming very interesting.
All right.
Annun jisenango adabe hadamadu la balu wala kono annun hadamadu ka fengo fengo dundi akono kono ayanda ke ku senango ayke kuti mi yalo ko ata hadamadu mantora madimul one stop water solutions limited ibe janne gambia banko kan annun ye filtaro le natal me yalo ko isala jiol kende andi anu isa senen inata le pour ka ji kendo ji senango natal gambia banko kan jio mi yalo ko atal mantora la annun jio diata ba one stop water solutions limited ye filtaro le natal me yalo ko alse muna fangano la alla pompol isala jiol tenten ya senen di coming alla fala nyame naketa pompoti bang abo holo fo nawek la pipe wala a filter sifa o sifa one stop solutions ya natalele 10-inch filter set of 3 ya sotalele filter mi yalo ko acidiota aya tenten natara bankole ba kono fa kenyo wala kankan be bije sa be bon filter fana member ko 12-inch set of 3 filter mi yalo ko acidiota aya dada aya senendi mense beta alla jata kendato o fana sotale CTO block carbon filter o fana mu filter mi yalo ko asi chemical o bonnino jiol kono le mense beta alla jata kendaya filter member ko CTO block carbon mensi jiola chemical o be bondi akono pour kala jata kendaya sa hen nim filter sabol be kiliwo kilina pansundo ko na wata tankol fana sotale kabirim 500 5000 fokata 10000 liters plumbing fittings fana be mol bulle alsimol tarano sukuta highway mariama kunda johnson wala isimol kubandi 505 5691 796 827 one stop water limited solutions inatale ka jiko be sonende gambia banko.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
To build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
With ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office.
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Ancora.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today.
Welcome back from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. After a heated debate, but my boss won. I'm giving him the.
Nobody won.
No,
Well,
but as the boss.
I didn't even make my judgment yet.
I strongly objected to your interpretation, but nobody won.
Yeah,
Nobody
but
won.
Well,
anyway.
everybody is open to your own opinion.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
anyway, learned a lot from some of the things that you talked about. I learned a lot from that. But anyway, now we move right on to the newspaper review. That's The Voice there. We also have The Point and Fourier.
Okay. The Voice newspaper, AG office request in quest of death of Dauda Fadera, 10 people arrested with suspected drugs. Central Bank governor vows to resign if alleged 115 million mutilated notes enter CBG. And of course, Energy Minister says sand and gravel operations amount to millions of dollars. Gambia Refugee Association advises members to avoid planned protests.
Okay.
Yes.
And
I can see
Okay.
here, I can read it. It says,
Okay.
I will resign if, which is thing. And what's quite interesting is a lot of the newspapers actually kind of echo
Yeah.
each other. Chief Justice appoints coroner to
Yeah.
probe death of Dauda Fadera.
Yeah.
Energy Minister says Gach effects royalty payments of over $1 million. And then VP Toure hails the passing of the Public Pensions Bill 2022 as Barrow's achievement, interestingly.
Yeah. And here we have government yet to pay all teachers affected. And also the National Audit Office says over $28 million is incurred due to delay in transportation of medical items. And also private remittances increased to over $776 million in December 2020. And TRRC recommends prosecution of junta leaders for killing 11 soldiers in November 1994. And again, Finance Minister tables agreements worth $34 million.
Yeah.
So that's all we have here.
No sports? We played
okay,
Cameroon
sports.
yesterday in
Coach
the return
Bong
leg.
expresses happiness to contain Cameroon in Banjul.
Oh,
I think
bit
that's
late
the
with that.
That's the female scorpion coach
Yes, but the game has already been played.
of the Gambia.
And
Yeah, but she said she expressed her happiness, in containing Cameroon in the Gambia.
yes.
Yeah, and also we have a report from EU observation here, and it's according to this particular observation, they're talking about the use of state resources and all of that. But really, do you think some of these observations from the EU and just other countries are things that, some people might say it's some form of interference, them coming to report on certain things that we are doing in our own elections and all of that? What's your just take on having these individuals come and tell us these things? What's your take on that?
I've never seen it as that. And if I'm blunt, we probably need people from outside to come and tell us, because we're not being honest with ourselves. So we've had the first report, which is from the EU. We'll have another one from the AU. We'll have another one from ECOWAS, amongst others. They all send observation missions here. Now, the EU one, and what you've just mentioned, there are lots of things that they mention that they think should be changed. They talk about the fact that the IEC has this broad range of mandate, and they say it's beyond its capacity to deliver on it. And they said, it should be given the resources, it should be given the capacity to be able to do what it is they're mandated to do. So that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. And also it says that NPP had state resource advantage.
Yes, and that, for example, something like the Constitution, for example, says the president can do 2 meet the people tours. And if that person who is the president then becomes the flag bearer of a party, it means that, he gets to go around the country twice a year and effectively campaign twice a year when others don't have that possibility. So they looked at that, but that would mean a change of constitution. They also mentioned the IEC, the way it is constituted, saying there are too many men, from the commissioner and the sort of chief commissioner and all the other commissioners, they're mainly men. So it talked about things like that. It talked about, the way the media reported. But I've got no problem with it because, like I said, sometimes we need people from outside to come and tell us, point out certain things, and all they can do is make recommendations. And so they've made lots and lots of recommendations that they would like to see impacted. They talk about the lack of representation of women in the political sphere. In the end, no woman stood for the presidency, although initially it seemed that there might be one. And so, they talk about things like that. But generally, there's not a lot of stuff they've said that we don't know already. Yeah. As to whether we will address them, that's a different point altogether. But they're saying that, this poor representation of women in parliament should be addressed because women registered more than men to vote, and women turned out more than men to vote, and yet that's not represented in our National Assembly.
Yes, and here on the Point newspaper, we have the Vice President Dr. Aissatou Toure, hails passing of Public Pension Bill 2022 as President Barrow's achievement. So putting this aside as President Barrow's achievement or not, let's just talk about pension, because you've lived in the UK, you're in the Gambia here. Can you just give a, obviously these are two different ways that these countries are led and all of that,
Sure.
but just a comparison maybe will help just to give us an idea of things should work when it comes to pension.
Yes, I mean, in the United Kingdom and in America, as well as what they call the state pension. So whilst you are working, they take what is called national insurance. And what's different about it there, national insurance means I can walk into any hospital in England if I'm sick and I'll get treated. I don't have to pay a penny, okay? Well, if I retire, which I am, I've retired from the United Kingdom, I can get both my state pension and a private pension. So whilst you're working, you could be paying into a private pension, which is what I did, which is what almost everybody does in the UK. So you're getting two pensions effectively. And so the ironic thing about that is that with those two pensions, my state pension and my private pension, I get more a month than I did when I was working.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how good it is?
Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, when I realized it, I wish I had retired sooner. Because really, but that's the difference. So you could actually live as you had lived when you were working and not see a drop in your living standards. I mean, yeah, I'm earning more now as a pensioner than when I was working, because now my state pension and the private pension are both paid into my bank account, straight into my bank account.
Well, it's a different scenario, I think, in the Gambia, because I've engaged few people that are pensioned and they go get their pensions time to time. Right. It's very difficult. Before, you will see the little they receive from,
it's still
from
the
the
case.
government.
It's still the case. Lots of people I know who are pensioners say they can barely live on their pension, which should not be the case. So the remedy could be that whilst you're working, you pay a bit more, so that at the end of it, and that's what happened in the UK, and that's why they encourage people to take private pensions, so that when you retire, you're 65 or you're 67, you could live for another 20 years. You should not be struggling.
And I know
that's what they
you
don't
people,
want to
you have a structure of getting your pensions. I mean, maybe at a certain time, certain day, you'll just go get it. But here, it's a bit difficult.
Oh, you don't go get it. It just gets paid straight into your bank account.
Thank you. But here, you have to go. For here, you have to go.
Yeah.
They'll tell you it's not approved yet.
Yeah.
You go back, back and forth, back and forth.
In fact, there, what happens is, as you are approaching your pensionable age, they actually send you information and they invite you to come to seminars and workshops on what you might like to do in retirement, so that you know how to manage your pension. And they will be quite honest with you. They said, because of your pension, because you didn't pay X amount into your private pension, this is what you will get. How are you going to live? Because then the state will have to take care of you and so on. So they do all of that. And we don't have any of that here, unfortunately. And then they all tell you long in advance, way in advance, the date on which you will start receiving your pension and the amount you will receive on a monthly basis. So all of that is told to you. So you're fully aware and you're prepared for it. So it doesn't come as a shock, which unfortunately here, when I've spoken to people who are pensioners, they said, I can barely get by on my pension. And that's quite sad, because you've worked all your life, you've contributed to the organization or the business that you worked in and to society by paying your tax, and yet you can't live in a sort of comfortable manner, and that's a shame.
Yeah, let's talk about the National Assembly a little bit. I saw them talking about the issues of ratification of loans, and I saw Uncle Sidi Ajata, saying that it's not really a good idea for us to just depend on these things, considering it's not a grant.
Yeah, every time I hear stuff like that, with all due respect to the honourable member, it's the kind of thing you would say if you were in opposition. If you are in power, the reality will hit you. We don't have gold, diamond, oil. Where are we going to get the money to do the things we need to do? We depend on loans, and in some cases we get grants. So honestly, it's, and I mean it's the kind of thing only an opposition politician will say, because if they were in power tomorrow, trust me, they will be taking loans as well. So yeah.
All right. As the finance minister tables loan agreements worth $34,000 dollars, and also
Wait,
million.
hey.
Why am I thousandsing?
1,000.
The thousand.
Sidi Ajata wouldn't object to that.
I know.
34,000.
Yes. So moving on, uncertainty in the selection of candidates when it comes to the parliamentary elections. Are you expecting political parties to have their own preliminary when it comes to the selection of candidates for the parliament? You know, today I heard over the radio that, you know, as it's mentioned here, uncertainties in the selection, you know, it seems there's some form of hand-picking here and there instead of having to, you know, do a preliminary in a like democratic way, internal.
Yeah. I mean, I think each political party has it's made me smile actually looking at what's been going on, because you've already heard people saying, I'm going to be standing in this seat for this party, when there's been no convention. There's been no sense that there's been a contest within the party to choose.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was speaking to our colleague Aji Bintu today, and she's due to go and speak to some young women. And I said, you know, they need to start exercising their power. They need to go to political parties and say, unless you have certain number of women on your ballot, I'm not going to vote for you. They have to be quite blunt and say, if another party promises that they will do it, I will vote for that party. They need to start doing that. Women turn out, they vote, they register to vote, and they vote.
Exactly.
And yet, you look at the parliament, 5 female parliamentarians and 2 are nominated.
You know, I keep saying
It's a
this
joke.
all the time. We do a whole lot of seminars, workshops, talk about women's rights, supporting women, to make sure women become top of our agenda. But at the end of time, when it comes to the implementation, I think they are left behind all the time.
Well, you'll see that later when you speak to these folks about the bill, because a lot of the parliamentarians who didn't bother to turn up are the same people who get invited to these seminars, these
Definitely,
workshops,
and they talk to different
sensitize
women.
people and say, you know, we support, you know, sort of equity and equality for women, and yet they can't be bothered to even vote. To be honest, if they turned up and even voted against it, it would have been something. But they didn't even bother to turn up. And that's the disgraceful thing for me.
They didn't bother themselves to turn up.
No, I mean, they would have been there for what, maybe 1 or 3 hours out of your day. They're 24 hours in a day, in case they don't know. And you know, all they had to do was be there for 2 or 3 hours. And you speak for or against, you vote for or against. But they did not even bother to do that. And they had a second, because they said opportunity, because it was meant to be heard on one day, and because there were so few people, the speaker adjourned it to another day. And there were even fewer people the second time around. So
there is something that I want us to just highlight on. I mean, let's talk about the competence of our National Assembly members. I mean, you know, a National Assembly is very important. I mean, if you don't have competent one, I mean, it will affect the way the country moves.
Of course.
Because we'll be having a whole lot of Jola people who will be shouting in the stadium. Jolas are my how do you call it?
they're going to start boycotting the morning if you keep on talking about Jolas.
Jolas
like
and Sarahules, they will be shouting in the house like that. So I think competence is also very important. Because, Mr. Ade, I've seen some of them, I've listened to some. I'm not saying I'm better than them, but I think they should be far better than that.
Yes, I mean, there was an instance last year, I think it was, when Halifa Saleh felt compelled to get up and say, Madam Speaker, can you please tell the fellow members that the word is Attorney General, not Anthony General?
Yeah, the Anthony and the Attorney.
So, you know, the fact that you need an assembly member to get up and ask the Speaker to correct people like that, that's kind of sad, because, you know, the things are in English. But having said that, we had a discussion in the office, and some people said perhaps the thing is, if you wanted it in a local language, could you decide on it had to be a single local language, and if so, which one would that be? And so the compromise is you have it in English, and not everybody is as fluent, because some of the people that you're talking about, when you hear them speaking a local language, they flow.
Yes.
They flow like a river,
Yeah.
but they're not so confident in speaking English. So sometimes we make the mistake of saying because somebody's English is not fluent and they're not confident in English, that they're not good. And that's a dangerous mistake to make, because for some of them, it's not their first language, sadly, and that's why some of the debates might go the way they do. But it's a tough
you
one,
think
and I don't
about
want to
this.
compromise.
If you know you are not fluent and you are to debate among technocrats, how are you going to manage that?
The thing is, you might have something to say. You might have something that's worth saying, but you might not be as fluent, as articulate as somebody else. But that doesn't mean you don't have something to say. And so I don't think people should be disadvantaged just because their command of English might not be the best. It doesn't mean you have.
Well,
you have
Anthony, okay.
so the Attorney General, who apparently is asking for something. You mentioned something about the AG in one of the, I think, AG office right at the top there.
Yes, AG office requests inquest of death of Dauda Fadera.
One says Attorney General, the other one says Chief Justice.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure who has
Which
asked
one?
for the coroner's.
Yeah.
Maybe both of them.
Yeah, so anyway, it's an investigation, so we will wait for the findings. Thank you so much, Ade Rami, for joining us on the newspaper review. Always good to have you here. Always something to learn from you. Always something to take away.
And always something contentious about the African proverb,
Yes.
which I've always doubted where these come from. And I did say we need to start
So
saying
this one
where
is
these
from
come
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this
Where
particular
Nigeria is a big country.
Yes, but most of the time it's they are Igbo.
Why is it Igbo?
Yeah, most of the time it's Igbo
I'm not
proverbs,
surprised.
but it's
I mean,
from Nigeria.
I think we need to start dealing with our own African proverbs. We have Gambian proverbs.
Gambian
but
ones.
Gambian the problem is, for example, with Gambian proverbs, if you give it a direct translation in English, it means something completely
And
different.
that's what I've always suspected.
Exactly.
happens
Come
with some of
example,
these.
if you want to say "Fayal narbi horamam,"
Pay
the Arab his salt.
Korka, how do you say that? Pay the nar his salt.
Pay the Arab his salt. You cannot come here and say that. Anyway.
It's a proverb. It's a proverb.
No, it's direct translation.
Yeah,
Anyway, we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about the quota system once again, allowing women and persons with disability to have reserved seats at the National Assembly. We'll be right back.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
To build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
With ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using QuickPay on the QMoney platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with QMoney by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. QMoney, Sunyukalpe.
Now, with Aji Bank, you can make your vehicle number plate payments without any hassle. Walk into any of our bank branches or agencies located at Banjul, New Joswang, Karaba Avenue, Bakote, Tranquil Brusubi, Brikama, Basse, Farafenye, Numuyel or Garawal. Your number plate payments now made easy with Aji Bank. For more information, please call us on 422-8405 or 377-5811. Aji Bank, your investment partner.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
That proposed bill did not pass for a second reading.
I think, thank you for having me, by the way. Jennifer, like I said, QTV is home. I think what happened at the parliament a few days ago, it was the most heartbreaking thing because all around the world, women have progressed beyond that. So for us, and I literally thought, I mean, I knew that it wasn't going to pass, but I think one of the issues that happened that very day was half of the parliament wasn't even there. Was it intentional? I don't know. But Gambia is predominantly, you have more women in this country than men, one. Number two, there are, out of all the registered voters, 59% of them are women. So we literally, we control this. I don't want to say we control this country, but we are the majority. And if anywhere, be it ministerial positions, there are 18 ministerial positions and only 3 of them are occupied by women. There are, the parliament have only 5% of women in there. So, and this is not unique to Gambia alone. This is all over the world. And this is because for years and centuries, the reason why the feminist movement come forward is because we were ignored. We were told to sit at home, have kids and have babies. Now we are educated. We are doing it better than men. And if you look at COVID, and I think COVID have highlighted what we can do as women. If you look at COVID, the countries that are headed by women are the only countries that have survived COVID economically. Let's look through it, and I can name all the countries. Countries like New Zealand and Netherlands, like they are still standing because they are headed by women. So I feel like we have proven ourselves through the years that we can do it.
Okay, just a short question before you go.
Okay, sure.
We used to have a whole lot of seminars, a whole lot of workshops to support women, I mean women's side. We've seen this previous election, we've seen women, their contribution, almost 50% of the voters, they are all women. And I can remember there was 59%. There was a story on QTV, I mean, talking about women going out and voting. What is happening? What do you think it's the problem?
I think there are a lot of factors. Culture have a huge role to play with it. I don't think it's only men who are holding us back. I think we've, especially Senegambian culture, we are not used to seeing powerful women in these leadership roles. I call the women who are quote unquote in these leadership roles lipstick women, because they're not out there really fighting the fight. For me, and it's not just feminism, it's our right. We are part of society. We've been empowered all over, and they'll always pull the religion. And I always say, Islam empowered us. Our culture took our religion and interpreted into what they want to interpret it.
Right.
But all over the world, and where Islam is concerned, we are empowered, we are given voices, and I think we need to stay away from these old practices where we are told to believe that we can be leaders. So I'm appealing to Gambian women to vote for women in parliament.
Okay, so Lamin, I already introduced you. I talked about the fact that we know your view when it comes to these things already. And I, according to Nancy, just gave facts and figures about women leading countries that made it when it comes to the COVID-19, and the fact that women are the majority, and also women are the highest number of registered voters. Do you think that is a reason enough to give women way when it comes to reserving seats at the parliament?
First off, thank you again for having me. And indeed, Nancy has made very valid points. However, I still remain my position on the fact that free handouts should not be given.
It's not a handout.
I see it as a handout,
okay,
based on the fact that it is discriminatory in itself. It is discriminatory to men, and just handing out 16 free seats to women does not sit
It's
well
not
with
handing
me.
out, it's contested seats.
It is
so
handing
Nancy,
out.
so this is it. I'm the moderator, I'm the boss, so I'll take charge right now. So I'll take charge of my position. So we'll allow Lamin to put across, and then we will come back to you shortly.
Okay.
Yeah, so I really get where Nancy is coming from. And like I said the other time, I am not against women empowerment. I am not against pushing women forward. What I am against is giving women a free ride to top positions where they would be, you know, in a position to make decisions that are going to affect the lives of 2 million Gambians or even more. So my position really is, where a position is up for grabs, because in my opinion, what women are calling for is equal rights, not handouts. And if you call for equal rights, then that position should be contested for. Whether it's a woman, a man, a boy, a girl, or whichever gender that is involved. If there's a position up for grabs, let the woman come forward, let the man come forward. And whereas no man wants to contest, the woman is there. If they are capable to do it, if they have all the requirements, what that position requires, then why not give it to them? Because with this quota system, what I see in it, it is positively, in fact, discriminating against women themselves. It is telling them, without these free handouts, you cannot make it. This is what I see. Without the free handouts, without us reserving 16 seats, without us saying, okay, in every region we are reserving, we are going to come up with two seats at the parliament for you to grab, then in fact you are also taking the choice away from the voter.
Okay, so
because you are telling
before we go to Nancy again, I have a question before we move.
Yeah.
The question is, because I want to ask based on what Nancy is saying. So Nancy said some National Assembly members were in there. She is trying, she doesn't know if it was deliberate or not. Agreed. So do you think if this is a deliberate decision by National Assembly members not to attend because they don't want this particular bill to pass, do you think that was a good behavior?
Oh, definitely not. Definitely
okay.
not. They were voted into office for them to be there at every sitting.
Okay.
So absenting yourself deliberately simply because you don't want your position to be known based on a particular bill, I think that is just disgraceful, to be honest. I would rather just sit there, say yay or nay when the bill is passed. Simple.
No,
but to just say you're sitting back simply because you don't want your position known or you don't want your electorates at the constituency level to know what your position is based on this, I think that is just disgraceful.
So that doesn't for the, okay.
By not attending the sitting, I mean, it's a communication that they are not in for it. I mean, no need to talk about it.
That is wrong.
It means no.
That is wrong in itself. You just have to be there because that is why you were voted into office. This bill has been presented, so you were required to be there to make your position known. It's either you are in for it or you are not for it.
Okay.
Those that were present are not better than those that stayed back. They were there because it is their mandate. That is why they were voted into office to be there.
Okay.
So I think
so Nancy, Lamin Fall is saying that this particular bill is discriminatory
to
women themselves and
men.
to men.
Yeah.
What are you saying in relation to that?
I think Lamin is being a bit unfair because when you look at the history of this world, like forget Gambia, I don't want to focus on Gambia alone. The issue of women being held back is not unique to Gambia. This is all over the world. That's where the feminist movement come along. Before, we weren't allowed to vote. We weren't allowed to go to school. We were just limited. And we know that if we are not, and again, you made a point that I think most people online who share your opinions, that was what they were running with. We're not asking for free passes. They are going to be contested seats. We're not saying the president should just bring in 15, 16 women. We're saying reserve 10, 15 spaces that only women can contest it. The National Assembly must reflect the population. Our National Assembly does not represent us.
But in that
it
sense,
doesn't
if I may just come in.
It's my turn to talk. The National Assembly does not represent us. And the men not showing up shows that they share the same sentiment as you. Exactly. I mean, we can sit here and sugarcoat it and call it whatever we want to call it. The bottom line is Gambian women need to be given the opportunity. We talk about, okay, let's address the ministerial position. That is not a contested seat. That position it's a political seat. Out of 18 seats in a country where 59% of the registered voters are women, only 3 positions are held by women. How is that justified? How do you think that women are represented when we are the majority? When we are the majority, culture, history, everything has a role to play in it. I think in this at this point, for you to just say, oh, it's discriminatory to women, I think you're making it casual. You are making a history. This has been going on for centuries where we are held back. So in order to equalize the playing field, we must be giving an opportunity. And we're not saying hand it out to us. We're saying reserve these seats where only women can contest. Okay, I'm asking you this question, a personal question. How do you feel to live in a country where the National Assembly is mostly men? And I have had the opportunity to address the National Assembly. And I remember sitting in, and it was about something relating to women issues. Half of them couldn't even understand English. So we have incompetent men at the National Assembly level. If we have highly educated women who are ready to contest and go to the National Assembly, what's wrong with that?
Okay.
So men are not the only issue.
So, Lamin, do you think it is fair that she's pegging this argument to the fact that some of the National Assembly members are not where she expects them to be?
And the Speaker of the House.
Yes. Do you?
Sorry, your question
she
was
just said that some of the National Assembly members are not at the level that she wants to see them. Do you think that's fair to actually bring in that justification when it comes to trying to reserve seats for women?
This is why I'm saying it should be based on capabilities and your ability to man that position, not simply because of your gender. From listening to her talking, it's the word reserve, to me, it's just a beautiful word that is used to just describe handout.
We don't want a handout.
Because if you're saying that the position will be contested, who are these women going to be in the first instance? Who are going to identify these 2 women in every region to be out there for them to be voted into office? In essence, what I see happening here is that you are telling us men, whether you like it or not, you're going to vote in 16 women to the parliament, whether you like it or not. This is what we are going to do.
And you think we like that the parliament have only 5% women?
But it's not about liking it. We, the electorates, made the decision when assembly elections were being held.
What? Because
the electorates forced.
The electorates were not forced. If I may just finish my sentence, please.
Yes,
because
so we just
elections
take it easy
are held.
here.
Elections are held to give electorates an opportunity to vote people into office,
Okay.
regardless of your gender. So the past National Assembly election, each constituency, each electorate in each constituency had a voting right to vote someone into office, and they made that decision on their own, whether it was a man or a woman. So I am not going to buy the idea.
Do you also agree that internally political parties are the ones sometimes that get to, just allow me, they're the ones that get to handpick these individuals at political party level?
This is where I was going to come to.
Yes, at political party level,
it's actually
they
where I
make
was
these
going to
decisions.
come to.
So which means
and I have
it is not the choice. So I just want to say this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's really the choice of the electorates? Because that is what is presented in front of them. So what do you have to say in relation to party level? Do you think there's no patriarchy there?
No. When you say that, you're also saying that, okay, people are now asked to vote based on their party alliances. Like, this is the party I sympathize with, so I am going to vote every candidate that this party comes up with. This is what you are saying in essence. If the UDP party would decide to put in a male candidate for a particular constituency, you are saying that every UDP militant is going to vote for that male candidate.
But that's how it works
in Gambia. So, my counter proposal to the quota system at the level of the National Assembly is, let it be a voluntary quota system at the level of the political parties.
Okay, but what if the political parties are not taking it up?
No, but it's not about them being able to take it up. This is an idea that we are going to sell to them, not to force it to them. Because at the end of the day, what you will do is you are taking the rights of these individuals to make decisions on their own. Okay. We don't want a situation like that. We don't want a country where people will be forced to make decisions based on laws that are enacted and they are not in agreement with those laws. This is a democratic country. In a democratic country, everyone has a single voice. Everyone has a single vote. So you cannot tell me that my vote is only good for a woman for 2 women in every constituency. I am not going to buy that idea.
Okay,
never.
So Nancy,
so
what do you have to
Jennifer,
say?
you brought in a very good point about the political parties not picking women. Yesterday, there are 2 young women who are contesting in the next elections. One of them called to tell me that, oh, guess what? They went ahead, obviously, with the man. This is the second time I'm hearing this week. So if these parties are the ones who present these candidates, internally they are discriminating against us. Like I said, we don't want handouts. Any woman who wants to go to the parliament is not looking for a handout. And the quota system is not limited to Gambia. And the way that you people on the other side of the aisle, the way you're selling it, you're making it sound as if these are not contested seats. Online, that's what I'm saying. They make it sound like,
oh, they are not contested seats.
They are contested seats.
They are not contested seats.
They are contested seats.
You are coming to a region. You're choosing 2 women, putting them out there, imposing
let me ask you a personal
the
question.
2 women.
Do you have a problem with women leadership?
I have no problem with women leadership. I am actually in for women leadership, but women who deserve these positions.
And
women who are capable enough, and
don't deserve this leadership.
They fight like their male counterparts to get these positions.
And they do. They do.
If they do it, they are winning.
We
have women that are in high positions.
Every woman was
we have women at the level of the National Assembly.
Okay, so order, please. Order. Okay. Order.
No, but
so
really,
Lamin,
to be quite frank, my position is not going to change. My position is not going to change. This country has laws. And it's not as if women are told not to vie for positions. That is not the case here.
But we have to look at the history.
But
we cannot ignore the history and the disadvantage that women have had.
Okay,
if I'm going to run with
Jennifer,
please let me. If I'm going to run with Usain Bolt, right? This man have experience and have been, you know what I mean? He's the world champ. Everybody knows I'm going to lose the fight.
Well, is it Usain Bolt's fault that he has that much mind? It is not his fault.
Lamin, we have to equalize the playing field. Lamin, you cannot honestly sit here and tell me that we've had advantage our whole lives and Gambia and
women don't have it
Lamin,
let me finish.
I gave you time. Let's allow Nancy
you
to say
cannot
this.
sit here and tell me that the playing field have been equalized forever. You cannot sit here and tell me Gambia have laws that empower women. My work, what I do every day, I work with women. I know the issues women face. If we made up 59% of the registered voters, when I look at the National Assembly, I want to see that. And the reason why we are not there is because society have embedded in our heads that the only thing we are good for as far as politics is concerned is to clap for men, wear swing ashabi, and sing for them. That's the only role that is reserved for us.
Okay,
so when we look at you're talking to me, not the average Gambian.
Lamin,
the average Gambian, Lamin, is not exposed enough, nor do they have the education to understand that voting for a person who looks like me is in their own self-interest. Because their whole lives, politicians are people who look like you, not me, men, not women. This has been embedded in our heads. So in order to change that, and psychology, everybody have confirmed this. In order to change that, we need to change the face of the parliament. And I keep saying, I'm on national TV, to the women out there, let's vote for ourselves. There are a lot of young women trying to run for parliament. These people need to be in there. Maybe if we have more women in there, we will not be sitting here having this conversation. Or maybe if we have the right leaders, the right female leaders, because the Speaker of the House is a woman, and you can tell she was not even in for the vote. So this is just not...
Well, but Nancy, just to say, we cannot justify if the Speaker was not in for the vote as a television.
She threw it out.
Yeah, but no, we cannot justify that as a TV to say that the Speaker was not in for the vote. That we do not know about.
But she threw out the...
We cannot justify that in a way. But then, Lamin, yes, I just want to ask a question in relation to what Nancy said. That is, she talks about culture. So the mindsets of people, it's not changed in a day.
Exactly.
So what can we do to change that? Because it's not talking, obviously. We've been talking for years. So what else can we do, apart from talking, to change their mindset?
I don't think the quota system is also a good idea to change that mindset.
What is
the mindset can be changed by taking a total look, like a round look of our education system. Looking at the education system is a way going forward, in my own opinion, because these are things that we have to teach kids growing up. We have to inculcate it into them, that society is telling you that a woman is meant to stay at home, bear children, bring them up, cook, wash, and do all the domestic work, while the man will go out there and fend for the family. This is not the case. You all have equal capabilities, regardless of your gender, and you can make it. Let's start it from there. But coming up with a quota system, telling me that, okay, in every region I am going to put in 2 women that you are by force going to vote for, I am not buying that idea.
But do you agree
and
that?
again,
Yes.
I just have to come in here. Nancy is telling me that, okay, she wants to see a parliament where 59% of the women are also represented, as in having more women in parliament than men. I am not against that if they are capable. If they are capable enough and they vie for the position like their male counterparts, they go on campaign trails, convince the electorates to vote for them, sell their ideas, give us a clear roadmap as regards to what they will do when they go into office. I have no idea.
But Lamin, do you agree that it's the same culture we are talking about? That is why when they go on campaign trails and everything, they are not voted in. Do you also agree that in as much as you're talking about the education system, kids tend to take what they see at home more than what the education system is going to tell them, and that a law has to be put in place to change those mindsets? Do you believe in role models? Do you believe in role models? Do you believe in role models?
I do. I do believe in role models. You can have all the beautiful laws in this world crafted and placed on paper, you know, and being issued out to people. But if the minds of the people are not ready to consume this, nothing is going to change.
Okay, but because the mindsets are not ready to consume it, what else can we do?
But that is that you cannot impose on people. This is my position. You cannot impose on people. Coming up with a quota system is like imposing on me to do what you want me to do. If women are indeed calling for equal rights, they should even kick this bill out themselves. This is what I think.
Yes, all right. So let's allow Nancy now.
Lamin, you just brought about the point that I was going to make. You said if we are calling for equal rights, then we should be able, pretty much, you wanna play big, you have to play big with everybody. That's your position.
Oh yes, that's what you're supposed to do.
I'm gonna bring 3 points in. I don't know if I'm sure you've been to the National Assembly. Maybe you've had the opportunity to address them. I keep it real. You talk about competency. If you look at schools, and Jennifer would tell you that, girls do better than boys. So you're telling me that in Gambia, in order for the parliament to reflect us, the majority of registered voters, we have to wait until my 5-year-old son, pretty much teach him that women can do it. We have to wait for another 18 years in order to get this bill passed, because that is how long it will take for this generation of kids to understand that what you can do, I can do it better, or maybe Jennifer can do it 10 times better. That is what you're saying, number one. The second point that I want to bring in is that, Jennifer, the reason why this is not just about the feminist movement. For you to sit here and comfortably pretend that for years we were denied the same rights that you have, it's unfair, and you know it. For years, we weren't allowed to go to school. For years, we didn't have the right to vote. For years, we were not allowed to come to this table. 25, 30 years ago, Jainaba will not be sitting here. This table will be you, and another guy. Times have changed. The world is moving. If Gambia wants to play big, if Gambia wants to be, Senegal, our neighbors have done it. Why can't we do it? If Gambia wants to play big, if Gambia wants to compete with the outside world, we have to empower women. And I strongly believe the only way to empower women is to fight this bill and make sure that this quota system goes through.
Can I ask you a
Regardless
question?
of how you think that, we're not asking for freebies. We have been subjected to sitting at home and clapping. I've watched almost all the political rallies. All what we do is Solsuñ Ashobi, Dilen Tachul. Yeah, that's all we are good for. That is all we are good for. So my little girl sitting at home, when she watches TV, she's going to be like, okay, so my only position where politics is concerned is to be a cheerleader. I'm not good enough to stand there and speak. I'm not good enough to be a candidate. We've seen it. The first female candidate, what happened? They knocked her down, attack her personally. If a man was to stand there and the man's character might even be worse than hers, nobody would go there. Our culture have suppressed us enough. In order to equalize the playing field, this bill needs to pass.
I like how, you know, we always assume things.
I'm not assuming.
Because this is what I see a lot of people do. In any situation where a woman is involved and they face a bit of difficulties, they tend to associate it with their gender, which I think is very wrong. Because you cannot really tell people how to judge a woman or a man.
Society
people have their people have their own
order, please, order.
As an individual,
yes.
I have my own perspective towards things.
Yes.
Jainaba does too, and
Right.
Balde does.
Yeah.
You cannot expect me to judge Jainaba the same way Balde would judge, because we see Jainaba from two different angles. So simply because the female contestant or the female candidate that came up was a woman does not mean that was the reason why she was being attacked. Secondly, I want to ask you a question.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
Why aren't you vying for the position?
The parliamentarians? Yeah. I haven't paid my dues. I didn't live in Gambia for about 19 years. I've done a lot of work with women rights and women movement. I don't think this is the right time for me to run, but I have every intention of running in the next parliamentarian election.
I can tell you that we have a lot of capable women who would just be comfortable sitting down talking and not actually going to the field to fight.
I have to tell you that the amount of work that I have done the past 3-4 years that I've been home, I am actually shocked, because there's a lot of work and more work to be done. I've worked with different victims. My house, on a daily basis, every maybe month or two, turns into a shelter.
Okay.
From the homeless woman to the child marriage. Literally, just about 2 weeks ago, I'm calling everybody to help find accommodation for a 14-year-old girl whose dad was going to give away to get married. So maybe you don't know me, and I get it, but yes, I've done a lot. I've paid my dues.
If we have all of these capable women in society, why aren't they coming up to vie for this position like their male counterparts?
They are. But when they get to the party level,
why are you trying? Why are you trying to tell me that I must vote for that woman, even though
I'm
if
not
I am
asking you to vote for that woman.
But this is what we are seeing happening. This is what the quota system is telling us.
That's not what the quota system
This
is
is what the quota system is telling us. Because the quota system is giving 16 seats to women. Only women.
Not
just giving. There is no better there is no better word to describe the quota system. It's just giving.
Lamin and Nancy, excuse me.
George. Thank you.
Regulate yourself. I'll send you guys out of the courtroom. I will. So let's just allow this to flow, and eventually we will get to learn from each other as we go by. You talked about the fact that culture did not contribute when it comes to the first female presidential candidate that came. It was evident that she was attacked based on her hair. It's there, the records are there. She was attacked based on her hair, what religion she's from, if she's married or not. Do you think that think that was fair? And it's on
Jainaba, to be
record.
quite frank with you, I am one person that is not going to judge you based on your appearance.
Okay.
I am not. I am educated.
Yeah.
I am aware. And I know that what I am looking for in a person who is vying for a public position is your capability, your knowledge, and your ability to man that position and to deliver to the Gambian people and to the electorates that voted you into office.
The average Gambian.
This is what I'm going to look for. This is what I'm going to look for.
Allow him.
If you are saying the average Gambian, you are in itself demeaning the average Gambian.
I am not demeaning the
Of course, that is what you are doing.
Okay.
You are telling the average Gambian, you are telling the average Gambian that I have to retune your mind to tell you that this is the right decision for you to make.
Okay.
This is what you are doing in essence. You are telling the average Gambian that every decision that you've made in the past is a wrong decision because you're not aware.
All right.
Nancy,
So
that is it.
Me listening to this debate, I think you both got a point here. Lamin doesn't want women to get it free. You understand?
No
I
free
think
rides.
giving women sit in the National Assembly, it's showing women that, I mean, without this, without
you cannot
giving
make
you free,
it.
you cannot make it.
Simple.
You understand? And we talked about a particular individual coming, I mean, for the presidency, a woman, and she was discriminated. I mean, Banky was discriminated too.
By society, not only men.
Yes. So
by society, and society is comprises of men and women. So if you are blaming men, you equally blame the women. Because it is society that is judging all of these people, not only men.
Can I come in?
yes, you can.
I think we cannot have any conversation about the advancement of women without judging history. I think we're being unfair. You cannot honestly sit here, Lamin, look at me and tell me that we have not been at a disadvantage for centuries. You cannot, Lamin, it's like you telling the African Americans in America that, oh, listen, the laws have changed, get over slavery. Racism doesn't exist anymore. It's like you're looking at me and telling me that women are not discriminated against because the laws have changed. For me, that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting out of your argument. And I'm not here to change your opinion, and you can't change mine either. I think what I'm trying to get at is really to the average voters. And your comment about me demeaning the average Gambian, that's not my position. That's not who I am. I respect everybody's opinion. But we also know that if the voters are not sensitized and educated about their rights and the roles that they play, the woman outside selling oranges in the street doesn't have the educational background to understand how important the parliamentarian elections are. That's where civil society comes into play to go out there and explain to her, listen, the parliamentarian elections are the most important elections in Gambia. In any country. It's actually more important than the presidential election because they make the laws that affect us. The executive makes very little decision. And I'm actually very surprised that even highly educated people don't place a lot of emphasis in the parliamentarian elections. Because these MPs...
All right, so due to time constraint, final words just to make it fair and we're out of here.
Okay, I am not of the idea that women are the only gender that can understand women problems. And thus they are supposed to be in parliament to represent women. If that were the case, then every other minority group would have a member of their minority group to represent them in order to understand their problems better and push their agenda. The ground is level. If a woman wants a position, let them put in the extra fight like their male counterparts. No free handouts. The way successful people make it is by putting in that work. Not just sitting down and having
final words quickly.
Thank you, thank you, and it was nice meeting you. Yeah. I am appealing to everybody: vote for women parliamentarians. We know our issues. We have lived it. Nobody can tell my story better than me. We've given men. Gambia, how old is Gambia? 57. For the past 57 years, Gambia's parliament has been predominantly male, and they have not addressed our issues. So who better talk the talk, walk the walk than us who have lived it and have felt it?
All right, talk the talk, walk the walk. All right, so Ibrahima, thank you so much for joining us. Lamin Fall as well as Nancy, thank you so much for joining us. We tried by all means not to be part of your discussion here. I know some people will say no, but we were quite neutral, Ibrahima, isn't it?
Well, I mean, this men thing, I mean, it's more
not a women-men thing.
No, it's about right and wrong.
Yeah, it's about human rights. It's about fundamental.
That's what the feminists made it.
Human rights.
The feminists have made it a men and women thing.
That's just I prefer listening.
They just made it a competition.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. We will go for a short break, and when we come back, we have the click segment. Yes. So let's go for a short break, and we will be right back. Sports, I am told, instead of the click segment. So we'll be right back and take a look at what is happening in the world of sports.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
hadamadin ila nyantolum kuyeji kendomi annun ji senao adabe hadamadun la balu wala kono annun hadamadun ka fengo fengo dundi akono kono ayanda ke ku senao ayake kuti mi yalo ko ata hadamadun mantora madimul one stop water solutions limited ibe jande gambia banko kan annun ye fitarole natal mi yalo ko isala jiol kende andi anu isa senene inatale pour ka ji kendo ji senao natale gambia banko kan jio mi yalo ko atal mantora la annun jio diata ba one stop water solutions limited ye fitarole natal mi yalo ko alse muna fangano la alla pompol isala jiol tenteng ya senendi coming alla fala nyame naketa pompoti bang abo holo fo nawek la pipe wala a filter sifa o sifa one stop solution siya natalele 10-inch filter set of 3 ya sotalele filter mi yalo ko acidiota aya tenteng natara bankole ba kono fa kenyo wala kankan be bije sa be bon filter fana member ko 12-inch set of 3 filter mi yalo ko acidiota aya dada aya senendi mense beta alla jata kendato o fana sotale CTO block carbon filter o fana mu filter mi yalo ko asi chemical o bonnino jiol kono le mense beta alla jata kendaya filter member ko CTO block carbon mense jiola chemical o be bondi akono pour alla jata kendaya sa hen nim filter sabol be kili kilin na pansundo ko na wata tankol fana sotale kabirim 500 5000 fokata 10000 liters plumbing fittings fana be mol bulle alsimol tarano sukuta highway mariama kunda johnson wala isimol kumandi 505 5691 796 8270 one stop water limited solutions inatale ka jiko be sonende
Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q-Power. I am Q-Cell. I am Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using QuickPay on the QMoney platform with great technology.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. Special thanks to Lamin Fal and Nancy for that interesting conversation. Now we head right on to Sports Wall. Thank you so much for joining us, Mamadou Kajaka.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. It's a pleasure always to be here and talk about sports, and we're going to talk about football. The AFCON, that is the Africa Women's Cup of Nations qualifiers, the last round of qualifying matches. It was Cameroon against the Gambia in the return leg at the Independence Stadium, and after the first leg battering of the Gambia by the indomitable Lionesses, that's what their female team is called, 8-0, the return leg was completely different. Let's look at the goals. First half, 2 goals for Cameroon, and in the second half, Gambia managed to get 1 goal. Let's look at the goals.
There's no midfield there. There's no midfield there.
Those were the goals. Three goals were scored. 2-1 it ended in favor of Cameroon, and they progressed to the Africa Women's Cup of Nations, which is going to be played in Morocco later this year. And the goal scorers were Abdou Gabriela, the Cameroon captain, who scored the first goal, and the second goal was scored by Kevin Osholo. That's Cameroon 2 for the first half, and in the second half it was Catherine Jatta who scored that free kick for Gambia. So there you go. Jennifer, it's all over.
All right.
So what's the name again? The aggregate is 10-1 over the two legs between the Gambia and Cameroon. Cameroon being...
So what does this mean for Gambia?
Well, it really shows us that the level of women's football is very low, and there needs to be a lot of improvement, a lot of improvement in the sense of there should be a better league for the women's footballers, and as well as some incentives to keep them motivated. Some of them are playing football, virtually don't even get paid at all, you know, for their clubs. So all those things need to change, and then we restructure the whole landscape of the women's football in the Gambia to be able to make them better so that they can compete with Africa's best, because Cameroon is one of Africa's best that they played against over the two legs. But yesterday's game was much, much better. They kind of played better than their first game, and they had some few chances as well. Well, Cameroon could have also gone on to score this time again 5 or 6 goals, but thanks to the resilience of the Gambian women's team, it was a better score at least.
I think, I mean, home advantage was there too, because looking at the Gambia playing in Cameroon, the women, it was a bit different, you know, 8-0. I mean, that was really shocking. I think they should have done better in Cameroon, at least. They would have avoided that 8 goals. But as you said, we need to structure a whole lot of stuff when it comes to our women football.
Well, definitely. And, you know, one of the biggest highlights of that game was Samuel Eto'o, former player of Cameroon and as well as former Barcelona, Inter Milan, and, you know, a host of teams that he played for previously, now retired. He is the current president of the Cameroon Football Federation, was at the stadium to watch the match as well.
Interesting. Any other thing?
Well, that's it for sports.
That's what we have for the sports.
Yesterday we had a discussion about, you know, just footballers faking their age. But Gazaga, I think it's getting out of hand. Isn't it getting out of hand?
When it comes to age cheating in football, it's been there for ages, especially when it comes to Africa. People can claim to be under 17 when they're actually 25, 26, 27. Well, I will give Gambia as a classical example. In 2014, we got suspended, global ban from football for 2 years because of age cheating.
Look at that.
5 players in our then under 20 squad were said to be overaged, or particularly given the wrong age, falsification of date of birth. So these things have been in African football for ages, and I think the changes really need to happen so that we can have those kind of fair competition, and as well as give the players the opportunity for the future so they can last long in their careers. They can have a durable career, because if you claim to be under 17 when you're actually 25 or 26 or even 30, well, after a few years, your body wouldn't lie, you know, because if it means it's over for you, football you play up to a certain age, your body says to you, you know what, I need to hang my boots now.
Relax.
Do them, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mamadou Gajaga, for joining us on Sports Wall, and thank you so much, Ibrahima Balde Jemma Chosan on the 26th.
Yeah, this Saturday it's going down, Jemma Chosan at the Serekunda West Park.
All right, see you there. See you next week. Bye.
Hadamadin ila nyantolum preji kendomi annu jisenango adabe hadamadun la balu wala kono annu hadamadun ka fengo fen vindi akono kono ayanda ke ku senawol ay ke kuti mi yalo ko ata hadamadun mantora madimul one stop water solutions limited ibe jande Gambia banko kan annu ye fitarole natal me yalo ko isala jiol kende andi anu isa senen inatale pour ka ji kendo ji senawo natale Gambia banko kan jio mi yalo ko atal mantora la annu jio diata ba one stop water solutions limited ye fitarole natal me yalo ko alse muna fangano la alla pompol isala ala jiol tenten ya senendi coming alla fala nyame naketa pompoti bang abo hono fo nawek la pipe wala a filter sifa o sifa one stop solution sia natalele 10-inch filter set of 3 ya sotalele filter mi yalo ko asidiyota aya tenten natara bankole ba kono fa kenyo wala kankan be bije sa be bon filter fana member ko 12-inch set of 3 filter mi yalo ko asidiyota aya dada aya senendi men sebeta alla jata kenda to fana